We'll face the danger. We will protect you.
Family. It's about connecting to something bigger than yourself.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 Marvel film, The Fantastic Four First Steps. The film is directed by Matt Shakman and it stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss Backrack, Joseph Quinn and Julia Garner. Right, okay, we meet the Fantastic Four. It's based on an alternate version of Earth. In the 1960s, the Fantastic Four, led by Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm, have been the protectors of Earth for about 4 years now. So this isn't an origin story. The world absolutely love them. They are like, celebrities. They're all over. They're even delving into politics. Well, Sue Storm is. And Sue ends up getting pregnant. So everything is going really, really well for the Fantastic Four. And then they are introduced to the Silver Surfer, played by Julia Garner, who heralds the arrival of Galactus and the damnation and destruction of Earth. The Fantastic Four then have to come up with a plan to fight back and save the planet from this planet-eating monstrosity, Galactus. Right, what are my thoughts on the Fantastic Four First Steps? Some would say, if you like, Marvel's had a rough year. Well, they've had a few rough years, to be fair. While I have enjoyed the Marvel films so far this year, they have not exactly performed well at the box office. So there was a lot riding on this for Marvel, really. They had to make this work. The introduction of the Fantastic Four into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, we know that the Fantastic Four has tried and failed a number of times to be released into cinemas. The most successful was the 2005 film Fantastic Four and its sequel, The Fantastic Four, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, which in many ways tells a very similar story to this. They did quite well, but people kind of conveniently forget those, I think. We had the terrible 90s one, and we also had the 2015 one, the Josh Trank one that I reviewed, and I've reviewed them all fairly recently on the channel to get ready for this film. So, I mean, there has been positives and negatives, I think, with the Fantastic Four on the screen, but I don't think there's ever really been a definitive version of them. And Marvel, you could tell, have really, really thrown everything at this one. And I think the majority of it has paid off. I think this is a very, very good and entertaining film. And it genuinely does feel like the first steps into the next stage of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is, I think, a very, very appropriate title. We already know that Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards is going to be the leader of, the Avengers going forward. How this Fantastic Four will kind of meet and match up with the heroes that we know from previous Marvel films, I don't know yet. But obviously we know that the Fantastic Four are going to be in the upcoming Avengers films. So they are definitely here to stay. So this really needed to work, this film, and it absolutely does. The concerns that I think many of us had, I think we can put them to rest for the most part. I had concerns about a female Silver Surfer. It works well for the film. I think a lot of people had concerns that they were going to go down the girl boss route, and there were reports that Sue Storm was heavily featured and she was going to be the one to save everybody and be thrust into the limelight. That's not the case. Everybody here is an integral part of the team, and that's the big part of this film. They are a team. They all do their part. They're all actually really well portrayed as well. Pedro Pascal. Say what you want about Pedro Pascal, and yes, he is massively overexposed. He's in literally everything, it would seem. But I think he nails Reed Richards here. I was concerned that it wasn't the best casting for Reed Richards, but he nailed it. I thought he was very, very good here. He is a genius, but at the same time, he's very, very relatable. And he's flawed as well and vulnerable, which I really liked. It was a very clever performance by him. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm nails it. I mean, he got the charm of Johnny Storm and the cheekiness of Johnny Storm. And he combined that really well with not being over the top or not being annoying at all. I really enjoyed his portrayal of Johnny Storm. Vanessa Kirby, great as Invisible Woman. And she had, with the baby thrust into this story, it really grounded the story in a sense of, it gave a real level of humanity to the story. And I thought she did a really, really great job of being a protective mother for the most part. Great. And I thought Eben Moss Backrack was fantastic as the Thing, Ben Grimm. I thought the effects for Ben were great. I wasn't overly sold on this beard that he had later in the film. How does the Thing grow a beard, a stone beard? It was a bit odd, but I mean, it was fine at the same time. I didn't spoil the film or anything, but I thought he was great as well. Again, they all absolutely were like pieces of the puzzle, and they were all needed to kind of make this film work. And it was clever. They didn't overly focus on anybody. And then we've got Galactus. Now, the last time we were introduced to Galactus was Rise of the Silver Surfer in 2007, and they absolutely messed that up. Here, I think they really got it. They really nailed it. When we're first introduced to the Silver Surfer and she heralds the arrival of Galactus, and then they do some research and they head off into space to confront Galactus. That's all done brilliantly. Really, really good. I thought the effects for Galactus and stuff were great. And the moral dilemma that he gives, not just the Fantastic Four, but the planet Earth at the same time, is very interesting too. And then the effects where Galactus comes to Earth for that final confrontation, I thought that was really good as well. I loved the retro stylistic look of the film because it's set in the 60s in an alternate version of Earth with this super tech in the 60s that's been developed, but it's also it's a bit like Fallout but without the apocalypse. It was really, really good, really cool. So I thought they really nailed this. I thought they absolutely knocked it out of the park and delivered a really fantastic Marvel film and a solid building block to move forward. Take note, Marvel, you get it right with your Spider-Man films and you've started well with Fantastic Four. Stop experimenting. Give audiences what they want. It is very, very simple. All you need, it's all in the comics, guys. Stop overcomplicating things and messing around with the formula of these characters that have lived in this art form of comics for so many decades. Fantastic Four have been around for so long. I loved them as a kid, Fantastic Four. I really, really enjoyed. They were one of my favourites as a kid, and finally we've got a brilliant, brilliant on-screen version of them. So I had a whale of a time with this one, guys. Not a great deal of negatives at all. It was a lot of fun. So if you really want to go and watch a really good Marvel film, this is, in my opinion, best Marvel film, arguably or debatably, since the last Spider-Man. I'm happy to have that debate, but for me, it was a very, very strong entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I had a good time, so much so that I'm probably going to go back and watch it again. So thanks for joining me for this review, guys. I hope you liked it. I will, of course, be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.